This week on r/JUSTNOMIL.
I have crippling depression.
Stay till the end to find out what happens when that time JUSTNOMIL refused to give me back my baby. I'm a horrible person because I refuse to give in and let my vile uncle into my kid's life.
Do it!
I do not give permission for this to be shared anywhere. I posted this in Eta, and I don't know how to cross-post it here. My mum is pushing and trying every manipulative tactic in the book to get me to break NC. My uncle is a mean drunk, and he spends 90% of his time drunk as frick. My kids are 2 and 3 meters, and I don't want them witnessing the rage, violent outbursts, things being thrown around, spousal violence between him and his wife, vitriol that spills out of his mouth, he curses and verbally abuses everyone and anyone, and just the general grimy feel he gives off. I've kept him out of my life since I was 15 and put my foot down on getting dragged there by my parents. I honestly hate his guts and I don't want him around me. It should be a no-brainer I don't want my kids around him at all. But my parents are pushing for me and my husband to take my kids to see him. Their reasoning: it's been 11 years since I've seen him, he's changed, he deserves to meet my kids and be part of their life, he's family, I'm being brat, that's just how he is and I need to get over it and be the adult. I don't plan to let his shadow ever touch my kids, but my mom's pushing and making me out to be the bad guy on this situation, because he has prostate cancer, supposedly. I don't give a frick if he has cancer, it doesn't change what an awful person he is. My last memory of him before I stopped going is him throwing his daughter, 12 at the time cousin, against the wall, because she forgot to bring ice for his drink. My mum has threatened to cut me out of her life if I don't forgive and be family. My dad won't get involved, because he doesn't care and he himself chooses to stay the frick away from uncle. My brother is staying out of it, because my mum doesn't respect his opinion at all and just screams over him anyways. Update 03/15/20 at 1:07 AM. I am just fuming. I texted mum a little after I posted on here my stance on meet with uncle and ground rules. I refuse to meet with him, I will not subject my children to him, and anyone that tries to push me to meet him will get blocked. What did my mother when she finally read the message? She freaking told me I was being dramatic and over-exaggerating, that a lot of the stuff I remembered wasn't that bad and that I'm making stuff. I am going to regret isolating my children from family, and I'm being a terrible daughter. When I pointed out that he's such an awful person, his own daughter left as soon as she legally could and hid herself away, says a lot about what type of monster he was. She said cousin is being dramatic and family needs to be together. Mum decided to throw out her ultimatum and said to go ahead and that I'd help her by blocking her so she doesn't ever get the urge to contact me. I told her I warned her to not push and now she's blocked on everything for as long as my rage burns. I'm over it and disappointed. The amount of suck-assness has pretty much left me drained and numb. Some people shouldn't be allowed to be called family. I'm just so pissed and hurt that she couldn't put aside this BS for my kids since she sure as shit didn't care if me or brother were exposed to it. I'm not dirty.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
My Mill just doesn't seem to understand the current situation. She has cried hysterically to my hubby multiple times I'm not dirty, because we won't bring our 4-month-old baby over to visit, we are self-isolating. She went as far as to lie to us. My husband is a bit of a wimp when it comes to speaking up to her. We agreed that if they self-isolated for 2 weeks, we'd see them. They told us they had, with their 2 daughters in the house. Then the 22-year-old daughter let slip that she'd been out a few nights before at her other sister's house, who lives with 8 random people. The Mill tried to tell us she told us that. My husband says I should believe them. Frick her and I'm not bringing my baby over there. They are fricking liars and when it comes to my baby's health and safety, that is my choice and they don't get to take it from me.
Do it!
Low rejects JN mother-in-law after his nap.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I've posted here before about my own personal experience with JNMIL, but as the title explains, this is about her and my son. Unfortunately, due to the current situation in the world, my little family has been forced to stay with my in-laws for much longer than we wanted and will have to look for a new place once it's over. Every day my little one goes for a nap at 4 p.m. and will sleep for an hour and a half. He usually wakes up pretty grumpy and will only want me. If anyone else tries to pick him up or play with him right away, he will growl, slap their hands away or screech no. Any other circumstance I'd say no thank you, we don't hit. But most people know to leave him alone, so I let it slide after naps. With it being said, JNMIL is notorious for bugging him right away, poking him, trying to take him from my arms, getting right in his face to talk to him or attempting bribing him with treats. He hates it. Phil and I always tell her to leave him alone since he just woke up, but she just huffs and walks away. Today though, I was outside when I heard him start fussing to let me know he was awake. I rush inside, take off my shoes and jacket when he lets out another whine. She immediately says I'll go get him. Annoyed, I tell her, no, I got it. You know he gets upset when other people go near him when he wakes up. Obviously in her true fashion she doesn't, tells me maybe it'll be different if I get him. I know what she has coming to her, so I said fine, you can try. She goes ahead of me, opens the door to my room and goes up to him while cooing good mornings to him and how he's so handsome. I stay out of sight in the hall and listen when I hear her suddenly say don't hit me, that's not nice. I roll my eyes, give her another 10 seconds then walk in. Immediately he pushes past her and runs up to me with his arms stretched and I pick him up. He cuddles up to me, then we all go into the hall. She tries again to have him go to her by reaching out to him and offering him treats, which he promptly slaps her hands away and turns so he's right in my chest. She gives me an irritated look, blows a raspberry at him, then walks away. I love the look I got when I said I warned you.
Be gone!
That time Xjanil refused to give me back my baby.
Do it!
Alright, this is a bit of an old one, because it's about my eldest 20 odd years ago. Here's the story. Eldest DD was less than a week old. We'd been out of hospital for 2 days at this point. To note, hospital was 3 minutes from Exmouth house and 30 minutes from mine, or my parents'. We lived 2 minutes away from each other at the time. So we were staying at Exmouth's, because Arlo had a health issue and her house was closest to the hospital, just for reference. I was carrying low downstairs to heat a bottle. I wasn't producing milk. Don't judge, it's a long, painful story. I got halfway down and walked into a shouting match between XF and Jafil, sadly no longer with us, and Exel about why I wasn't breastfeeding and how I was neglecting my child. All because I wasn't breastfeeding. Would it be rude to point out that I had very invasive breast cancer treatment several years before meeting my ex or any of these people? Apparently I just wasn't trying hard enough and I'd get it if I stuck at it. Anyways, XDP came down and took one look and sided with his mother, actual suggesting that I was somehow abusing my daughter, and then he started banging on about father's rights and saying that I'd never see her again. Bear in mind I was a bystander in the initial argument and apparently my only failings were that I wasn't breastfeeding. His mother held of my, screaming, DD, the whole time, and any time I reached for her she literally turned her back. And Milo was so small and so tiny I was scared of trying to grab her back. I pleaded and reached and cried. Anyway, long story short, Mil kept hold of DD and wouldn't give her back. Even when I tried to prise her from her arms she turned away into a corner. Bear in mind DD was a very newborn at this stage, and she was screaming to be fed, and X-Mil kept trying to take her into other rooms away from us, and she was so little I was scared of hurting her. And all the while I was getting she's my grandbaby from X-Mil and just let mum do it from ex-partner, while they literally refused to hand me my several days old baby. I lost my shit. So I did what any self-respecting Irish lass would do. I called Mida, called the police too, but arrived first, with my youngest brother, He walked straight up to Exmal, who was too shocked to react, and lifted Milo from her and handed her to youngest brother to take out to the car while the rest of us waited for the police. Police arrived about 3 minutes after Maida and Bro listened to all sides and then told me to take Lo home and think about where you want to go from here. NI police are brilliant, but their concept of child protection needs a lot of work. Anyway, it was almost a year before Exmal saw DD1 again. DD1 has refused to see either Exmal or XDP for years, and, unbeknownst to her, her precious son had a long course of anger management classes and therapy, which is why he gets to see his younger kids. The older ones want nothing to do with him.
You are fake news.